So as Candace mentioned, we had a last minute cancellation, which caused the host and the speaker to be canceled. Candace and I were trying to recruit somebody last minute, and we had to kind of look close to home. So we got our kids, and we figured they could do the work, and we could just sit back and relax and let them do all the heavy lifting. So one of the things about the Center of Love is it's about bringing people together, and it's about learning from each other and seeing how everyone is a representative or an expression of the great teacher. And so we learn from people who come from different walks of life, who maybe have different beliefs than us, who are like-hearted but not necessarily like-minded, which is a very key distinction. Because this community is about like-hearted people. We don't have to agree or see everything the same as long as we're coming from that place of love and and acceptance. So I think children have a lot to teach us. I know I've learned a tremendous amount from my kids. I learn from them every day. Sometimes they teach us by virtue of a positive example, and other times they teach you by showing you what not to do, and things that maybe you should have done differently. So there's lots of lessons to be learned, but I wanted to start it off real quick with a couple quotes that I found around the virtue of being childlike. So our friend Yeshua, Jesus, of course, and I'm sorry if you come from a religious background, every great teacher, every messenger, every prophet is our property here at the Center of Love. We own them all. We can quote from all scriptures because they all speak of one truth, the universal gospel. And Yeshua was a representative of that. And as soon as we strip Christianity away from Jesus and we just take Jesus as he is represented in the canonical gospels, you get a very different picture of him and a very different feel of who and what he was saying. And so when the disciples came to Jesus and they said, who gets the highest rank in God's kingdom? Jesus called over a child and he stood the child up in the middle of the room and he said, I'm telling you, once and for all, that unless you return to square one and start over like children, you're not even going to get a look at the kingdom, let alone get in. Make yourself as a little child in order to access the kingdom of God, which, by the way, if you read it a little later on in the New Testament, God is love, so the kingdom of God is just the kingdom of love. You don't have to put anything else behind it. It's that simple. And so little children, they get right in there. I wonder why. Another thing that he says, he tells his disciples, don't push these children away. Don't ever get between them and me. These children are at the very center of life in the kingdom. Mark this, unless you accept God's kingdom in the simplicity of a child, you'll never get in. And last but not least, gotta hit the Tao because that's my favorite, one of my favorite books, the Tao Te Ching. In it, Lao Tzu says, the person who is in harmony with the Tao is like a newborn child. Its bones are soft, its muscles are weak, but its grip is powerful. It can scream its head off all day, yet it never becomes hoarse. So completely in harmony with the Tao. So intense is its vital power. So just some ideas, some thoughts, some words around childlikeness and being like a child and how that ties into perhaps accessing a part of ourselves that is the source of all love. So on that note, I'm going to turn it over to the actual organizers and hosts of this event. And I think, Evangeline, you're going to speak a little bit about acceptance. Is that acceptance of other people? Is that correct? Here's your audience, my friend. Share your truth with us.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about acceptance, and you already know because my dad said, but I accept like my family and all my friends, and that the one person I don't accept used to be my friend, but things just didn't work out, and now I don't really accept her because she was really rude and she didn't care about a lot of people. So I like to care about a lot of people, but sometimes I care about them too much, and then it just hurts when they don't, like when they're gone. I don't really like to be alone because I like to be with the people I love, but that sometimes at nighttime it can be really stressful because I'm alone. But I just breathe and I think about all the people that do love me. And what Dad said about children is like children didn't start wars, World War II, Jews, Hitler, the Navy, immigration. Children didn't start that. Grown-ups did. So I think that grown-ups should learn from children. And not all grown-ups are right, but some of them think they're always right. And my friend group, usually you don't see, usually friend groups around my school, they're all the same color or they're all the same grade. But my friend group, there's one girl and she is younger than us. She's in grade 4 and we're all in grade 5. And we still accept her and she's one of my best friends. And one of my friends are from Denmark and Africa and Poland, and I'm half French Canadian, so that's fun. And American, so of China too. Yeah, and China. Kathy's from China. Yeah.
When you're meeting someone for the first time and you're deciding whether or not maybe that person can be a friend to you, do you pay attention to their skin color?
No.
Do you pay attention to whether they are he or she?
No.
Do you pay attention to whether they're tall or short or differently shaped?
No.
So what do you look for then if you're not looking at appearances? What makes you decide that a person is friendable?
Kindness, and they make me feel good, and my gut tells me that they have a good feeling because most of the friends that me and my friends have let into the group, my gut has told me if they're good or not. But back then I didn't listen to my gut because I thought, don't listen to your gut, it's bad. What if it's wrong? Then everyone's gonna blame it on you. But once I started listening to my gut, it was very, it was mostly right, but it was only wrong like 2 times. And every time I got it wrong, my friends wouldn't blame it on me and they wouldn't be childish, like bad childish. Yeah, because if I know that my friends won't get mad at me if I get something wrong, and that's how I know that they're true friends to me and they'll always accept them.
And they accept you even when you make mistakes. That's beautiful. So you said something there, and it's something that's come up already when we talked about being childlike. And I was wondering, Cyrus, if you could demonstrate for us right here the difference between childlike and childish. So maybe you can start with childish. Can you show us what childish looks and sounds like? What else you got? So if that's childish, what were some words that you would use to describe being childish, Cyrus?
Silly.
Silly, okay. Yeah.
Disruptive and loud.
Okay, what else?
Funny.
See, I think you're actually making a good point, Sorry. I think what you're doing is you're actually touching on both sides of it because I think being silly is actually a good quality, or it can be. And being funny is also a very good quality, right? So maybe that's more childlike. But Candace, you had some good thoughts on that this morning. You want to come and share on the difference between childishness and childlikeness? Thanks. Everybody's working tonight. Don't worry, you'll be working soon too, my friends. We will, yeah, that's the whole point. We're gonna jump into it after our meditation.
So we were talking about this and we thought that childlike tends to be more positive and childish tends to be more negative. And childlike speaks to being curious and innocent and spontaneous and pure and fun. And it's like light. Whereas childish is more, what can I say earlier? Of course, now I can't remember because I'm being put on the spot. It is more disruptive, like you said, eventually. And I think it doesn't typically match one's age. So it's a type of behavior that doesn't line up with maturity in a way. And so it doesn't necessarily mean it's a quality that only children can exhibit. It's also something that we adults can too. And I think that typically happens if we're triggered. I had that happen to me recently, and the way I felt and the way I acted was very childish. Yeah.
How's that?
How was it childish? It was mean and petty and, you know, me against them and me trying to justify how I felt.
I think that was a great description. Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't feel good to be childish, especially when you realize it's happening and also when you aim to not be like that.
Yeah, and Evangeline touched on it too. You had a great point. You said, you know, kids don't start wars. Well, the types of behavior and attitudes that start wars is childish. It's like you were just describing. It's us versus them. It's about being right. It's about winning. It's not about seeing things through fresh eyes. It's not about finding a way to meet in the middle. It's very much me, all mine. So yeah, absolutely. Well, my friends, that's those are some thoughts on the virtue of being childlike and the difference between being childlike and childish. And the main point of this, of course, is to open up and have some deep, connected conversations. So we're going to meditate for 10 minutes, and then we're going to open up the floor and we're going to share our truth together.